this video I'm going to share my top 3 hidden gem film cameras of 2021. All 3 of these cameras are totally manual, so if you're looking for advice on something with auto modes, then this won't be the video for you. I've picked 3 cameras at varying price points that I feel are currently undervalued in 2021. Perhaps for this reason, they're all a little under the radar. At the end of the video, I'll share my very favourite from these 3 hidden gems. Starting with the cheapest camera on the list, the Voigtlander Vito B or Voigtlander Vito 2A. If you've watched any of my other reviews, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of these little 1950s viewfinder cameras. They were made concurrently, so look very similar. The major difference is the Vito B has a fixed protruding lens, like a modern camera, whilst the Vito 2A has an old-school folding bellows type lens. Both feature an incredible 50mm 3.5 colour scope, which produces super sharp, modern-looking images with heaps of contrast, but still with a lot of vintage charm. It's that lens that makes these one of my favourite cameras to shoot with. Combine that with their diminutive size, top-notch all-metal German build quality, an unbelievably low price tag, and you're onto a real winner. These are viewfinder cameras, so if you want to accurately measure distance, you'll need an external rangefinder. That said, in most daylight situations, with a top speed of 1/300th and no ND filter options available, you'll find yourself shooting at smaller apertures anyway, so you rarely need to measure distance too accurately. Once you get your head around basic zone focusing, you'll find the Voigtlander Vito B and Vito 2A are very easy and pleasurable to shoot. They are also leaf shutter cameras with PC sync sockets, so surprisingly handy for flash photography. The price in 2021 for a decent Vito B is around £20. The Vito 2A is marginally more, going for around £30 to £50. The next camera on my list is actually the most expensive of the 3. It's also the most well known. The Barnek Leica. These are the original Leicas designed by the genius Oscar Barnek and were made up until the mid-50s, until the introduction of the Leica M system. Barnek's Leica was a testament to Bauhaus design of form following function, and was also the first commercially produced camera to shoot 35mm film, something of a revelation back in the day. There is nothing quite like the feel of a Leica, made to the highest standards and exact tolerances. They are a real joy to hold and shoot. There are a number of different versions of the Barnek produced over the years, some with bigger viewfinders or slightly more speeds, but the principal design remained the same. One quirk that may not be for everyone is a split viewfinder and rangefinder window. Use one of the windows to focus and the other to compose your shot. This can be a little awkward to begin with, but soon becomes second nature. There are a decent amount of speeds, but it's a curtain system, so not too good for flash photography. Unlike Leica M's, which use M-mount glass, you're stuck with Leica thread mount lenses on a Barnek. That means none of the new Leica glass will fit, but luckily there's a stack of stunning vintage lenses available in Leica thread mount. Whilst they might not have the razor-sharp rendering of a modern Summicron APO, they do have a look all of their own that seems difficult to imitate with modern glass, a more ethereal, artistic look that feels more special in the age of megapixels and dynamic range. The main reason these cameras are on my list is the price. Whilst a Leica M6 body and OK lens will likely start off at around £5,000 these days, an original Barnek, with most of the same functionality and build quality, can be picked up from anywhere between £300 to £1,000 depending on the model and the lens. That's incredible value considering their prices when new. I can also say, with some experience having owned modern Leica M and digital cameras and lenses, that shooting an original Barnek just feels nicer. It feels like you're a curator maintaining an important part of history, rather than a hipster showing off some fashionable gear. So the final and favourite of my top hidden gem film cameras of 2021, drumroll. The Konica 3A. I cannot believe how this one's passed us all by. Of all the camera reviews I've published to date, it is the one for the Konica 3A that's been watched the fewest amount of times. It's barely been watched at all, to be honest. Madness when you consider how good these cameras are. People just haven't heard of them. Super solid, incredibly well built, with a massive bright viewfinder with moving lines for parallax correction that allows you to compose perfectly. The quietest, super stealthy shutter for street shooting, a funky little double action lever alongside the lens for cocking the shutter and advancing the film that cleverly lets you advance the film without taking your finger off the shutter release. It's a leaf shutter, like the Voigtlanders, so flash is good at any speed, and whilst the top speed may only be 1/500th, you have a regular filter mount available for ND filters if you want to shoot at the widest apertures in daylight. The final coup de grace is the 48mm f2 hexagon lens. What a lens! In my opinion, right up there with the very best. Sharp, contrasty, with a modern feel, but also bags of vintage charm. You can see why, for a long time, Konica's hexagon was the benchmark that all other Japanese lenses were measured up to. It's a superb camera that has everything you need, in the right place, and won't break the bank. But they are rare. There are currently none on eBay UK. When they do pop up, they tend to sell for £150, which is insanely undervalued for what you're getting. You can find a few ready to ship from Japan in the £200 to £250 region, which is still crazy cheap, but do be aware that you may need to pay import duty on arrival. I hope you've enjoyed my top 3 hidden gem film cameras for 2021. See you next time.